All right, folks, welcome to a special edition of Real Truth. I'm Howard Riell, against my better judgment, but I am Howard Riell. This is Real Truth, and I've got a special guest today, returning to the show after an absence of 2 or 3 years, much too long. Robert Spencer is the director of Jihad Watch, a program of the David Horowitz Freedom Center, and the author of 14 books on Islam and jihad. He has led seminars on Islam and jihad for the FBI, the Joint Terrorism Task Force, United States Central Command, and other intelligence and military groups. And his newest book, which I'm telling you, you need to go out and get and read and share and discuss, is called The Complete Infidels Guide to ISIS. Speaking as a complete infidel, I'd like to welcome Robert Spencer back to the show. Robert, how are you? I am great. Thank you very much for coming back and doing the show. It is my pleasure and privilege to have you on the show. Last time you were here, I made you very uncomfortable because I referred to you as a real honest-to-goodness hero, and I guess you're one of those humble people who doesn't take compliments like that, but you remain one of my heroes. You're doing fantastic work, and I want to start by thanking you for all that.
Very kind. It's kind of a shame that we live in such an age where all you have to do is be called a hero to tell the truth. Because so many people tell the truth. The way it is these days.
Well, you are absolutely right. So let's spend the next hour telling some truth. I read your book. It's excellent, just as I knew it would be. My first question, do we make a mistake by singling out ISIS or Hamas or Boko Haram or Al-Qaeda, Hezbollah, Taliban, Al-Shabaab, etc.? Do we make a mistake in singling them out as our enemies when we should be talking about Islam in general, or am I overstating?
And to justify that. And so the Quran is essentially a manual for ISIS activity. And everything ISIS does, you can find notifications for in the Quran. I didn't mean that whole Quran. So we have to be able to discuss that. Remember, this problem is never going to go away. But that discussion itself has been foreclosed. It's allowed in polite discourse. You're a racist, ignorant Islamophobe. And you even broach the idea that these jihad terror groups might be operating according to teachings and principles of the Islamic religion.
Okay. Is there any substantive difference between any of those groups that I just mentioned, or are they simply different branch offices of the same company?
Yeah, it's like food and safety and other little doctrines, and they take a lot away. And I can't tell them apart, maybe you can. But it's the same thing. As a matter of fact, you mentioned Boko Haram is special agents to the Islamic State. And changed its name to the Islamic State of West Africa.
Okay.
So Paris is exactly the same as the Islamic State. But Al-Qaeda, the Islamic State changed from Al-Qaeda. And it used to be the Islamic State, but ISIS 10 years ago was Al-Qaeda in Iraq. And so the difference between Al-Qaeda and ISIS, the great deal that's been made of that, really is just a matter of seconds. It's not a matter of philosophy or point of view at all. ISIS and Al-Qaeda broke from each other because the ISIS group wanted to form a caliphate in Iraq with Saddam. And Al-Qaeda said, no, it's a good idea, but it's not time to do that yet. The Americans will crush it, which obviously they were wrong about that. And Al-Qaeda has more recently taken issue with ISIS as public beheading. And just said, you're just turning people away from Islam and from the jihad when you do these, publicize these things. But ISIS then counters, maybe that's true, but this is law. And so we're obeying the law, and whatever happens from obeying the law will stay. And so it's not a matter that it's not like Al-Qaeda says, no, that's Islamic. It's not a good tactic at this time.
Okay. What is there about ISIS that sets it apart, if indeed there's anything? Because when you turn on TV, listen to any of the political candidates, they're all talking about the United States fighting ISIS. What's different about ISIS? Anything?
Yeah. The claim to be the caliphate is huge. It's a very big deal. It is it's an extraordinarily important factor in understanding the appeal of ISIS. The caliphate is the only government that Muslims will allegiance to according to Islamic law. And that being the case, it has been able, on that basis, ISIS has been able to appeal to Muslims worldwide as being, as having a form of loyalty. And many
We got about a minute and a half before you go to our first commercial. Chapter 6 in your book, The Caliphate, what it means and why it matters. Why do we care how Islam decides to organize itself? Why does the Caliphate matter?
Well, see, most people would assume that Muslims are able to become completely well citizens of the United States with no problem. That's certainly true of many Muslims. The concept of the caliphate, however, is a direct challenge to that idea. The caliphate claims for itself the loyalty of all Muslims worldwide that you're not an American. Excuse me. You're not an American. You're not French. You're a member of the Ummah, and you're a citizen of the caliphate. And that's the only allegiance that you have on earth. And so insofar as Muslims believe that, and they're going to be acting in ways that could be slightly treasonous. And so it has to be something that's discussed and something that's lost to the United States. If they really reject this kind of thing, they have to start looking against it.
Okay. Does this make ISIS more dangerous than the other extremist groups?
Oh, yes, because the caliphate has little ambition. The caliphate not only claims to be the only legitimate government of Muslims, but they also claim not surprisingly to be the only legitimate government of anyone. And so they have a plan. It's a detailed strategic plan to conquer the whole world. I think they're going to conquer the whole world? Of course not. They're going to murder all the people inside to conquer the whole world? Absolutely.
Interesting. You say that they're not going to conquer the world. I agree with you, but we'll talk about this at the end of the show because I took a sneak peek at the final page of the book, and you end on a very upbeat, very optimistic note, and I'm going to want to get to that. But before we get to that, we're going to wade through all the cooking, all the murder and the beheading and the blood and all kinds of stuff that inevitably becomes the warp and the woof of any discussion involving Islam. We'll take a break and we'll be right back. My special guest today, Robert Spencer. Don't go anywhere, my friends.
It's nothing more than a shot in the dark. If you're taking supplements or following health programs without an accurate scientific evaluation of your health, from the comfort of your home or office, you can work personally with health expert Eileen Durfee, a Dr. Wilson health practitioner who scientifically evaluates your current health and provides you a personalized program and affordable products. Get real results, get nutritional balancing, and GoHealthyNext.com. Call 866-463-4533. That's 866-463-4533.
Great Plains Power has been providing reliable electrical power systems in the Rocky Mountain area since 1992. Our systems rely on the sun to help make you self-reliant for your power needs. Solar energy can be scaled to fit any situation, from complete power independence to backup power for the short term. Our expertise focuses on standalone power, but we have extensive experience with utility interactive systems as well. Custom tailored capabilities as modest as emergency lighting all the way to commercial scale power. Great Plains Power is a full service company. We service everything we sell. We provide and design turnkey packages, custom design system, and parts for do-it-yourself. With more than 20 years of specialized experience at your disposal, let us know what your power concerns or goals are. Reach us by phone or the internet. Call 303-239-9963. That's 303-239-9963. Or go to GreatPlainsSolar.com.
Beloved, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirit with the name of God, because many false prophets have gone into the world. By this you will know the Spirit of God. Every spirit that confesses that Yeshua, Jesus, has come in the flesh is of God, and every spirit that does not confess that Yeshua, Jesus, has come in the flesh is not of God. And this is the spirit of Antichrist, which you already heard was coming and is now already in the world. 1 John 4:1.
All right, folks, welcome back to Real Truth. Howard Riell. The call-in number, 877-254-7524. My special guest, Robert Spencer, got a brand new book out, The Complete Infidels Guide to ISIS. Get it, read it. You don't have to memorize it, but you should certainly know what the hell is in it. Robert, I'm go on YouTube and I find lots and lots of videos of people who describe themselves as former Muslims, and they converted out of Islam for this reason or that, but a lot of them say that Islam is not a religion at all. It's just a cult. What's your thought?
Well, it depends on one's definition of the term. I mean, I would certainly say that Islam is a religion. A lot of people who say that Islam is not a religion say that because Islam has a political component, and that political component is actually violence and supremacy and authoritarian. And so they think, how can those things be compatible with a religion? Well, here again, it depends on what your definition of a religion is. My definition of a religion is very bare bones. It is something that purports to claim to relate human beings to God, or to the divine. Islam claims to do that, so they get religion also is an authoritarian supremacist and violent political system that has to be paid. So I would say it's not a religion. As far as being a cult, here again, what's a cult? Well, I guess what I would say a cult is something where there's a great deal of control placed upon the members and a great deal of social coercion, a great deal of fear, a great deal of threat in terms of you better not get online, you better not be. And that's what leads the group. And that's certainly, I think that there's no doubt that it's one fits the definition of that. Because there is a great deal of fear, intimidation, and violence, the death penalty on those who beat Islam and so on.
Now, the difference is more than semantic. If we say and if we rule that Islam is religion, then here in America, it's got to be covered by our freedom of religion. But if we rule that it's a cult, then we could begin shutting down mosques, at least the ones that preach violent jihad, and treating it not as a religion, but as something that we have a right to control. Yes? No?
We ought to be doing that anyway. It ought not to be considered a part of the freedom of religion to preach sedition and the overthrow of the government. It ought not to be understood that the freedom of religion is some sort of blank check to try to swap to destroy Americans. That ought to be taken for granted.
Okay, well, I agree with you. Talk to me about the video component, which has really risen to prominence in the last year or so. The people on videos, very professional-looking videos, being beheaded, being burned, being drowned. How does that change, if indeed it does, how does that change the equation?
You know something, Howard, these videos is very important to note that they are very professional. And this shows that the Islamic State has been able to attract people with a lot of talent, people with a lot of training, people who are not the mythical terrorists, the desperately poor, disenfranchised, uneducated, manipulated individuals, but some people who are quite highly trained, perfectly competent and wealthy, and are giving their talent over to this group because they believe in it. They believe in its theology. In any case, the videos are very complex and they're very brutal, and brutality is a recruitment tool. Because when people see these videos of beheadings and so on, they'll talk. And that's the natural reaction, of course. But ISIS is counting on Muslims who read the Quran and know what's in the Quran and are frustrated by what they perceive as the unwillingness of Muslim groups today to obey the whole of the Quran. And they see these things, these beheadings and so on, and they say, that's not somebody doing what the Quran says. These people are the real thing. And that is not a group we want to associate with.
I'm seeing news items in Angola. Apparently, they either have or are preparing to ban Islam. In China, they take no guff from the Muslims. In Japan, they are ratcheting down on them. There aren't many Muslims to begin with, but they're keeping a tight rein on them. Is this the beginning of a trend that we're going to start to see around the world, or are these going to end up being just isolated incidents?
Well, we know that in the case of Angola, they're not denied by the Angolan government.
Right.
Where it went around, and then the Angolan government handed it down. As far as the others go, yes, the Chinese have been very tough. Tough as brutal and repressive communists can be in trying to suppress jihad terror. And it's gone way too far, I think, in doing so, making the Muslim stands in the streets and denounce the Quran and Muhammad
Okay. Am I being overly optimistic in thinking that once we see some countries standing up to Islam, that more countries will begin to do so?
I sure hope you're right about that. I mean, the denial and with that, it's just prevailing and absolute total righteous denial.
Right.
It's good, you know, that we have every last ruler, every last leader, every last person on foot is so harsh, saying that Islam is a religion of peace and that the Islamic State has nothing to do with Islam and so on. I would like to hope that this ridiculous counterfactual fantasy, politically correct fantasy, would sometimes give way to reality, and that it's going to happen. I would expect it to never does happen. I have so many Christian ranks, and some politician, some leader of some country, saying actually Islam, not every Muslim is a jihadi, every jihadi is a Muslim, and they're getting their teaching right from the Quran, and we have all Muslims to formulate new ways to deal with it, or to reject these teachings, reject these understandings of Islam, and so on. I hope that will happen someday. I don't feel on the horizon. Every last politician, Republicans and Democrats in this country, they just fall into line and repeat this concept. Despite the bounty of this country.
Hasn't the Prime Minister of Australia, in fact, the last two Prime Ministers, haven't they said, look, our culture is our culture, and if you're a Muslim and you don't like it, you're free to leave?
No, that was actually the treasurer of Australia, like the treasury minister, or whatever they call it.
Okay.
Australia, it was way back in like 2004 or 5, and he said it, and then it became one of those internet meetings.
Ah.
Kind of attributed to several successive prime ministers of Australia, the same book, you know, and I remember when the book first came out, and I tracked them back to the treasurer. He was not the prime minister, he never became prime minister, he was only accepting his own opinion. It was never something said by any Australian prime minister. It's a shame, because it was good for us, and they were true, and it would be good for the leader of Australia, or the leader of any country, or any Muslim country to say, if you want to come here, you're welcome, but you live out our own faith and not bring your own government with you. It's really good common sense, but nobody is actually said. Nobody is tolerated, I should say.
I've seen the number many times on the internet, and I can't remember it, I'm sure you will, the percentage of mosques in the United States that are either actively teaching jihad or disseminating literature about jihad. What is that number? It's some insanely high percentage.
Yes, you're quite right, 80%. And that comes from 4 separate and independent studies, all conducted separately from one another by different people. That's 1998. In 1998, it was actually a Muslim, the Naqshbandi Sufi Sheikh out of Michigan, Isham Kabani, who scored 114 American mosques. And he testified in January 1999 at the State Department of Forum that 80% of mosques in the United States were teaching the nature of Jews and Christians, the necessity also to replace the Constitution with Islamic law, and so on. And then his findings were confirmed by studies by other people in 2005, and then again in 2009, 2011. And so these things, it's funny how every study actually, because that's the only word that I believe that ever been conducted, what American mosques teach, they all come back to the same figure, 80% teaching hatred and supremacism. And there has been no studies on the other side saying that any kind of other point.
And you would hope that would be, those teachings would be enough to get these places shut down. Unfortunately, they have not been. As long as we're talking about internet rumors, Barack Obama, Muslim or not, what do you think?
He doesn't answer my emails, he doesn't return my calls. I don't really know. If he were not, I mean, if he really were a secret Muslim trying to advance the Islamic agenda from the White House, I don't know how he actually differently.
Exactly right.
I don't actually think that he is a believing observant Muslim. I think because his background, because of his possibly Muslim, because of his being raised a Muslim in Indonesia, and that's not a dispute. He even says in his personal biography that he got in trouble for making faces in Quran class in Indonesia. And you know, you didn't put Quran class for a Christian in Indonesia in those days. Or nowadays. And he was raised a Muslim, his father is Muslim, his stepfather is Muslim. I think he has great respect for admiration for opposition to the attaining of the jihadi goal by non-violence.
And if he were a Muslim and said he were not, he would not be violating taqiyya, which says that Allah grants you permission to lie if it will give you a tactical advantage. So that means we can't believe anything that comes out of a believing Muslim's mouth, right?
Well, that is a problem, yes, because chapter 3 verse 28 says that unbelievers make unbelievers as friends or protectors and protectors to believers, unless you're doing it to guard yourself against them. And the commentators on this verse, the companion of Muhammad, says it means the smile on the faces of some people will find their backs and curse them. And this is the idea that you pretend is under pressure to be a friend of an unbeliever or an ally of an unbeliever, but you do not believe. You cannot be sincere about that. Obviously, people are people everywhere, so some will that's not a local good their friends. But this possibility cannot be discounted, especially when it comes to fake crap. This is one of the things go on.
Right. You saw the item this week. Edward Snowden came out and said that based on the information he's uncovered, that bin Laden is still alive. If that were true, if bin Laden was still alive, what would that do to the Islamic scenario being played out globally? Would it matter?
It would in the sense of it would give a great support to their claim that the United States is dishonest and deceptive, is lying to engulf people into the world. And that would be one thing. But at the same time, the problem is it's symbolic, right? It really just has symbolic, right? This is the movement that is developing the object. It was never coordinated around here as some sort of charismatic personality anyway, but rather than around Islamic practice. And so it's just keep rolling on. Right? I don't think that it would be a significant change, except in the sense of morale and security.
All right, we're about to hit another commercial break. Any chance that Iran is being sincere that it's really not going to use its nuclear weapons aggressively?
That's it. That's Howard. They constantly say that Israel is going to be wiped off the face of the earth and must be. But they do it if they can.
I would agree with you. Robert, hang on. We're going to take a break. We'll come back, my friends. More with Robert Spencer here on Real Truth. Stay tuned.
It's nothing more than a shot in the dark. If you're taking supplements and following health programs without an accurate scientific evaluation of your health, from the comfort of your home or office, you can work personally with health expert Eileen Durfee, a Dr. Wilson health practitioner who scientifically evaluates your current health and provides you a personalized program and affordable products. Get real results, get nutritional balancing, and GoHealthyNext.com. Call 866-463-4533. That's 866-463-4533. An emergency preparedness plan for your home, car, school, and office is a must. Knowing how to store water safely, survive extreme temperature changes, provide reliable shelter, first aid, and sanitation is critical. Knowing where to get the best lights, radios, and other supplies is easy. First Survival, located at 3366 South Broadway, is a professional, reputable, full-service business providing realistic preparedness supplies at affordable prices. Stop by, go online, or call 303-781-0343, 866-781-0343.
Riell Power has been providing reliable electrical power systems in the Rocky Mountain area since 1992. Our systems rely on the sun to help make you self-reliant for your power needs. Solar energy can be scaled to fit any situation, from complete power independence to backup power for the short term. Our expertise focuses on standalone power, but we have extensive experience with utility interactive systems as well. Custom catered capabilities as modest as emergency lighting all the way to commercial scale power. Great Place Power is a full service company. We service everything we sell. We provide and design turnkey packages, custom design system, and parts for do-it-yourself. With more than 20 years of specialized experience at your disposal, let us know what your power concerns or goals are. Reach us by phone or the internet. Call 303-239-9963. That's 303-239-9963. Or go to GreatPlainsSolar.com.
We know our government is out of control. It's no longer our servant, it's become our master. Listen to me. Liberty Forum with the Freedom Rider will answer the question, what do we do? Our freedom and liberty is at stake. It's time to act. Those who have given everything for this country would expect no less. Tune in to the new Liberty Forum radio show Fridays
the strength to say no to drugs. They provide examples to their peers and families to be the best they can be. That's from Elizabeth Locker Plant, located at 366 Grand Street in Elizabeth, serving our area since 1943 and specializing in naturalized HB and pork and complete custom processing. Call 303-688-2240. That's 303-688-2240.
Okay, guys, welcome back. Howard Riell. The show is called Real Truth. The call-in number is 877-254-7524. My special guest today, Robert Spencer. Brand new book out, The Complete Infidels Guide to ISIS. Robert, I quote articles that I find on your website, Jihad Watch, almost every day. How old is that site, and what kind of reaction is it getting these days?
Well, I started Jihad Watch in October 2003, and it's almost 12 years of my life now. And it's what kind of reaction does it get? Well, you know, it's a funny thing. As you know, as a regular reader, Jihad Watch is primarily just used aggregate so that it's the one source called Jihad.
Right.
And the Jihad used the sources primarily from AP, providers, sources like that. And so people then say that we're fabricating all this and making it up to make people look bad. This is something that I get very frequently, even though it's taking the external face of it, but that is a very common reaction from the left and from the right.
All right. You know, I was watching a video of someone else who's been a guest on the show, Bridget Gabrielle. And in one panel discussion, she went off on a rant about how the peaceful majority becomes irrelevant. She cites Germany and Russia and China and Japan, and the fact that there may be a minority of Muslims around the world who are extremists. They're the ones who lead the way, and so the majority that will not commit acts of jihad really become irrelevant. And she's right on with that, is she not?
Absolutely. Yeah, this is a very important point. And you know, it's not a lot to say anymore. I mean, regime said it a few years ago, and got away with it. But now the politically correct situation, the politically correct news is piping around America's head with such rapidity that Chris Chilling, the baseball pitcher, said the same thing, especially in a tweet not long ago, when he tweeted out that only 5 to 10% of Muslims are extremists, and yet there were 5 to 10% of Germans were Nazis, and that didn't work out. And it's really, that sounds point. I'm not sure how accurate the percentages are, particularly when it comes to the Nazis. But the fact is, yes, that there is a vast majority of people, Muslims, and certainly the vast majority of Muslims are not waging violent jihad at this moment. They're certainly not doing anything to stop this war. It's a remarkable thing to actually discuss in the book that even though American Muslim groups have condemned ISIS and stated they reject ISIS' understanding of Islam, there's not a single law or single Islamic organization in this country anywhere that has any kind of organized program that teach young Muslims why they should reject the understanding of Islam that ISIS offers, even though they say they oppose it.
There's a guy named Ben Shapiro.
Muslims are going over there.
Okay, there's a guy named Ben Shapiro who puts out the truthrevolt.org website, and he has a video which I played more than once on the show, in which he looks at the numbers and percentages of Muslims worldwide who say that even if they're not going to commit acts of terrorism, they're okay with some acts of extremism. Some Muslim acts of jihad in some respects are justified. And based on that, he comes up with a figure of over 800 million Muslims worldwide who would basically not object to seeing extremist acts occur. So you can't really say this is a small percentage that's hijacked a religion.
No, I mean, obviously, that's not talking about 800 million active jihad terrorists.
Right.
But yeah, in terms of people who sympathize with it, in terms of Muslims who think that it's all fine, that it's a good thing that the jihad is being waged, or that it's a good thing to update from Islam, people who read Islam to death, or something like that, then that's right on, absolutely. Because these things are taught in Islamic law. They're taught in the Quran. A Muslim is not going to stand up and say, I oppose the Quran.
Right. There's also a formula out there that says when Muslims reach a certain percentage of a country's population, that's when they become more obstreperous, more aggressive. What's the number? What's the percentage I'm thinking of?
I don't remember the percentage, but you're talking about Dr. Peter Hammond's study.
I believe so, yeah.
It's a very good study, and he is a scholar of slavery in Islam and Sharia, and yet he has a chart based on the countries of the world and their local population.
Right.
It shows how there's direct correlation between the amount of civil strife in a country and the number of locals in the country.
Right.
And it doesn't really take very many to specific. As I say, I don't remember the exact percentages. I don't have that in front of me right now. But I believe that once the population of Muslims gets to the same, the percentage that is you start getting regular jihad attacks that demand for accommodation of Sharia on a regular basis.
Yeah.
So it's kind of thing we're seeing in Europe now. The numbers aren't even that high in Europe yet.
Right. You know, one of the things that strikes me is we just have this whole stink over the last several weeks about the Confederate flag because it says slavery to people, and of course African Americans are dead set against it, but it's also African Americans, especially in prisons, who are converting to Islam when Islam is the only place you go for slaves these days. In Sudan and elsewhere, slave trade is a Muslim industry, is it not?
Well, absolutely, yeah, because the Quran allows for slavery, and so even though a lot of the Muslim countries, virtually all of the Muslim countries, have outlawed slavery, they did so under Western pressure, and they did not move against the practice that's still practiced widely in North Africa, various Muslim countries, as well as in Saudi Arabia. And this is because people don't care if it's against the law in terms of the civil law. They know it's okay, but it's not. It's in the Quran, so it must be all right. And the thing about it is that these prison converts, they're not supposed to be with this. They're not told the truth. They're told that Christianity is a racist religion and that Islam is egalitarian and believes in the equality of all people. And they're essentially their rights to. And they're not told about how the Muslim slave traders are the ones who sold the black Africans to the American and British slave dealers. And so Islam is involved in this right from the beginning, but none of that is told.
Interesting, because you're mentioning what people are and are not told about Islam. What's the status of so-called soft jihad, which is really the public relations propaganda arm of jihad? Is it accelerating around the world and in America?
Yeah, it's great. I wrote a book called Sept Jihad.
Right.
Exactly this phenomenon back in 2008, and it's been up now. This is 15 times this way.
It does, doesn't it?
And it's only gotten worse. And I think the Christian example that I mentioned a minute ago is a prime example of that. He criticizes extremist Muslims and criticizes the majority of Muslims who are not actually against them. And he gets fired for his job and is excoriated everywhere. Well, wait a minute, I thought everybody was supposed to be against the so-called extremists. I thought that everybody was waiting on the moderate Muslims to rise up and fight against the extremists. So he expresses some impatience about that, and he's out of line. And I saw that so many people said even if Muslims would not be jihadis would not be. I think that the Nazis actually don't deserve the comparison when you have the jihadis with their sex slaves and the beheadings and all this business. And would they still think they didn't use what they had to stand? Oh, absolutely. And so, I don't see a problem with this, but the fact that it became such a firestorm shows how much the self-jihadis advanced over the years. That you can't really say anything in opposition to jihad terrorism without being granted a basic data.
Absolutely right. Robert, hang on. We're going to take a break and we're going to come back. Real Truth marches on, my friends. Today with Robert Spencer. Go nowhere.